I've been ranking every track across the Mario Kart series, and today is the day I get to rank all the Mario Kart Wii tracks. Mario Kart Wii holds a special place in my heart, as this was the Mario Kart game I grew up with, so I'm very excited I finally get to talk about all these amazing and nostalgic tracks as I rank them from worst to best. So without further ado, let's kick off with the worst track in Mario Kart Wii, Yoshi Falls. Now to be clear, even though Yoshi Falls is at the bottom of this list, I don't think it is a bad track. It is, however, an incredibly simple course that isn't particularly fun to race on, especially when you have invested thousands of hours into Mario Kart like me. This course is just a simple loop, and the most exciting thing about this track is the item boxes that are flowing down the waterfalls, which is nowhere near as cool as shooting yourself out of a cannon to the summit of a mountain, or avoiding fireballs being shot out of a giant Bowser statue. Ghost Valley 2, the 2-star tracks. To be honest, I have never been keen on any of the Ghost Valley retro tracks. Ghost Valley 2 feels like quite a short track, but it features lots of sharp 90-degree turns, and it has blocks along the edges of the track which will fall off if you bump into them. Mario Circuit 3. Yeah, I figured I might as well get the SNES tracks out of the way nice and early, as both the SNES tracks aren't very interesting. The layout of Mario Circuit 3 is however pretty solid, as lots of the turns on this course can be pretty satisfying to take, especially when racing on the bikes. Sherbet Land. This is another track that I've never really enjoyed. Compared to N64, this is a better track on Wii, since the racing on the ice is much less slippier than before, but this is still a pretty bland looking snow map. The ice cavern portion of the map is however pretty cool, and the course does feature plenty of penguins that are very cute. Mario Circuit. So I didn't mention this when talking about Mario Circuit 3, but for some reason there are like 6 circuit tracks in this game, which is a lot. And because we have this many circuit tracks in Mario Kart Wii, we run into the problem where a handful of these circuit courses don't feel that memorable. Mario Circuit Wii is unfortunately one of those circuit tracks that falls into that very category, as there isn't really anything interesting that happens on this course. I mean, for most of this course, you are driving in a straight line, which isn't very exciting. Mario Circuit, the GameCube one. Yeah, I know it's confusing, I've put 2 Mario Circuit tracks next to each other, but like, I don't care. It's my list, so it's my rules. Suck it, nerd. Anyway, I don't have a lot to say about the GameCube Mario Circuit, to be honest, as this is one of those circuit courses that I don't find memorable at all. It's still a solid circuit track featuring some good turns, but it's not a track you're going to remember. Desert Hills. I do have to confess that I've never been a fan of many of the desert tracks across the Mario Kart series, although I don't think that's a very controversial opinion, as I've heard that a lot of people will agree with this hot take. Desert Hills is a fine Mario Kart map, but it's another track I don't find to be memorable whatsoever. The layout of this course is okay, and there are a ton of shortcuts you can take with mushrooms, but that doesn't save Desert Hills from being one of the weakest desert tracks across the entire series. Luigi Circuit, 3-star tracks. This is another pretty easy circuit track, but there are certain parts of this course that I do like, which makes me enjoy the circuit track much more than the other ones we have talked about so far, such as the off-track ramps and this massive boost pad section. Mario Raceway. I quite liked this track back on N64, and I still enjoy it here in Mario Kart Wii too. There's a lot of fun turns to take on this course, and the road is pretty narrow, which makes this a more fun map to race on than you would initially think. Dry Ruins. The second desert map in Mario Kart Wii, and this one is actually not too bad. This feels like one of the most difficult desert tracks within the series, and because of this track's difficulty, it makes racing on this course feel like a lot of fun. The section of the track where you get to race within the ruins is also pretty cool, and I love how parts of this course will change from lap to lap, such as how some of the desert pillars will fall on later laps, and how the sand in the middle of the pyramid will fill up and continue to rise during the race. Shy Guy Beach, one of the 2 beach-themed tracks in Mario Kart Wii. I've seen a lot of people dunking on this map, and some people even going as far to say that it's their least favourite track in Mario Kart Wii, but I have always quite liked this one. Shy Guy Beach is one of the more difficult beach tracks in the series, since there are lots of crabs on the beach you need to avoid, and you also have to watch out for the ships that will fire exploding cannonballs onto the course. I get why some people don't like this beach map, but I still find it to be pretty enjoyable. Peach Beach, the other beach track in Mario Kart Wii, and this beach is a much more relaxing one to race on. This beach course is one of the easiest tracks in the game, but the overall calming vibe this track gives off is what makes me really enjoy racing on this beach. Delfino Square. This is a fan favourite track from Mario Kart DS, but well, let's just say that I personally don't have a very strong opinion on this track. I still see Delfino Square as a very good course, as the track has been designed very well. There are a ton of shortcuts to find on the course, and I love that the track was inspired by Delfino Plaza from Mario Sunshine. The reason I don't have this track ranked higher up in my list though is because I don't find this to be a very exciting track to race on compared to other courses in Mario Kart Wii, and this is honestly a track I end up forgetting about a lot. I never really get a strong urge to race on Delfino Square when I boot up Mario Kart Wii, but it is still an enjoyable track when I choose to race on it. Bowser Castle 3. This may be a flat Bowser Castle track from the Game Boy Advance, but I find this to still be a really fun track to race on. There are lots of sharp 90-degree turns, jumps, and hazards scattered all across the course, which makes this a pretty challenging track to race on. Moo Moo Meadows. Onto the 4-star tracks. I am aware that nostalgia could be a contributing factor to why I love a lot of these tracks within Mario Kart Wii, and that's definitely true for Moo Moo Meadows, as it is a nice cozy track that I have heavy nostalgia for. My favourite part about this track is the cows, as on lap 1 they will be chilling out on the fields, but on later laps they will start to move onto the road and become a hazard for you to avoid. Moo Moo Meadows may seem like a simple track, but it is a track I really enjoy, and I bet if you ask any of my friends who also grew up playing Mario Kart Wii, they would say that Moo Moo Meadows is also one of their favourite tracks in this game. Daisy Circuit. The final circuit track in Mario Kart Wii, and it's not just the best circuit track in this game, but also one of the best across the entire series. The reason being is because the theming of Daisy Circuit does not feel like your traditional circuit track, with it taking place in a small town by the sea at sunset. There's a nice cozy atmosphere when racing on this course, and the amount of good turns here really helps to make this circuit map stand out from the others. Waluigi Stadium. This was already a fun track back on the GameCube, but thanks to Mario Kart Wii's trick system, it's now an even better track to race on. There are lots of ramps and bumps on the road for you to do tricks on, and half pipes have been added to the course to allow you to do even more tricks on this track. DK's Jungle Parkway. This was one of my favourite tracks from the N64, so I'm very happy this track made a reappearance on the Wii. This is also one of the 3 themed Donkey Kong maps within Mario Kart Wii, which is very good as I love me some DK representation, and all 3 DK maps are really good. As for DK's Jungle Parkway, it's got a lot of features I like, such as the ramp you take to perform a massive jump over the river, a very tight wooden bridge which can be chaotic to race on when items are flying all over the place, and there's the cave section where you can take a pretty good shortcut if you have mushrooms. Wario's Gold Mine. I remember 8-year-old Olli playing Wario's Gold Mine in Mario Kart Wii, and he found it to be one of the most difficult courses in this game. Fast forward to now, 13 years later, and I still suck when playing on this course on the Wii. Now, I obviously don't find this course to be as hard as I used to, but I still think this is one of the harder courses in Mario Kart Wii, as most of the track is pretty narrow, and there's various hazards you can come across on the course too. I still love Wario's Gold Mine though, as I think the theming of this map is great, and I like the sections where you get to go through the cave to avoid bats, and the section where you have to avoid the minecarts on the track. Moonview Highway. This is our track in Mario Kart Wii, which features giant moving vehicles, and this is a track I really like. The first half of the course has you taking some tight turns, avoiding traffic on only 2 lanes of road, but the second half has you entering the city where the road opens up a lot more, and there is a ton of boost pads scattered around the road. My only critique with this map is that it feels a little bit too easy for a special cup track, especially the second half of the track, but I will say that the big vehicles are surprisingly aggressive in Mario Kart Wii, which helps to make this track feel a little more difficult. Other than that though, this is a very fun track. Grumble Volcano. Set on an island surrounded by lava, Grumble Volcano is a map where you have to race inside of a volcano, and then you exit the volcano to race around the rest of the island whilst avoiding fireballs exploding out of the volcano and other fire enemies. The cool thing about this track though is that chunks of the course will break away during the race, making later laps much more difficult than the previous ones. Mushroom Gorge. Mushroom Gorge is a course which features mushrooms you can bounce on, and there are tons of these mushrooms on this map. At one point you enter a mushroom cave, and you'll have to bounce off these mushrooms to reach the other side of the cave without falling into a giant chasm. The mushrooms are this track's unique gimmick, and it's the main reason why I love this track. My only critique with this map is that I do find it to be a little bit on the easy side, which stops me from putting this track into the 5-star category, but apart from that, this is a fantastic Mario Kart track. Toad's Factory. Time for our 5-star tracks. The best tracks in Mario Kart Wii. Toad's Factory is the final track in the Mushroom Cup within in Mario Kart Wii. And I want to point that out, as it's very rare I give a track within Mushroom Cup a 5-star rating. The reason why Toad's Factory is so deserving of a 5-star rating though, is because of the amount of things that are going on in this course. You start the race by avoiding giant hydraulic presses on conveyor belts, then you jump onto a road being moved by cranes, avoid boxes being transported on conveyor belts, drift around a 270-degree turn on another conveyor belt, then finally you jump out of the factory and hit boost panels across the mud to reach the finish line. I mean, I can't fault this track. Bowser's Castle. This is another one of my favourite tracks from Mario Kart 64, and actually now that I think about it, most of the N64 tracks that have been selected to be represented as retro tracks in Mario Kart Wii are all great picks. Well, except for Sherbet Land, as that one sucks. The N64 Bowser's Castle may not have all the bells and whistles of the newer Bowser Castle tracks, but I still think that the N64 version of Bowser's Castle is one of the best in the series. This is a challenging course with lots of thwomps, sharp 90-degree turns, and fire-breathing Bowser statues. There's also a tight wooden bridge across the lava, which is a great place for setting down banana traps, and there's a ton of elevation changes here on the course I really like. This is also one of the longest courses in Mario Kart Wii, but everything about this course slaps, and it really is one of the best Bowser Castle tracks in the series. Bowser's Castle, the Wii one. Mario Kart Wii must be doing something right, as I've just gone on about how the N64 Bowser Castle is one of the best within the series, and now I'm going to go on about how Wii's Bowser's Castle is another one of the best Bowser Castle tracks in the series. The reason why Wii's Bowser Castle is one of the best is because this map throws so many crazy obstacles at you. Wobbly hallways, tons of thwomps, a giant mechanical Bowser statue which shoots fireballs at you, and there's the fire geysers right at the end of a lap. This is one of the most chaotic Bowser Castle tracks across the series, which is why it's also one of the best. DK Mountain, one of the best tracks from Double Dash, and a fantastic track to bring back into Mario Kart Wii. This course remains pretty much identical to its previous outing on GameCube, except with the addition of some new halfpipe sections, and this track is still a brilliant, fun, and challenging course to race on. Peach Gardens, a fan favourite Mario Kart track, and one of my favourite tracks as well. I never played a lot of Mario Kart DS, so my first introduction to Peach Gardens was on the Wii, and I remember falling in love with this course very quickly. The flower garden theming is excellent here, and there are so many different pathways you can take while racing through these gardens, which keeps this course exciting. Even when you take a step back and realise that this is quite a simple course with hardly any elevation and not a lot of challenging track design, Peach Gardens still manages to be one of the best tracks in the Mario Kart series, thanks to the theming and multiple routes you can take on this course. DK Summit. This track is basically DK Mountain, but covered in a bunch of snow, and taking place at a ski resort. You start off the race by shooting yourself out of a giant cannon to reach the top of a snow mountain, and then you race down the mountain while going over many ramps and half pipes. One small detail about this map that I really like is that at the start of the race, the map will start out being all foggy and cloudy, but as you progress into later laps, the weather will clear up and become more sunny. Not many Mario Kart tracks have dynamic weather elements in them, so this is a very cool thing to see. Rainbow Road. Many people regard Wii's Rainbow Road as their favourite Rainbow Road across the series, and it's clear to see why. It's not a secret that the Wii's Rainbow Road is one of the hardest Rainbow Road tracks. No, actually scrap that. One of the hardest tracks across the entire series. There are tons of tight turns, including some nasty hairpin turns, and there are hardly any railings on the side of the road to save you if you make a mistake. But once you nail down all the turns and know how to best use the half-pipes on this course, then this course becomes a dream to race through. Wii's Rainbow Road is a masterclass in track design, and one of the best Rainbow Roads we have seen across the series. Maple Treeway. If we were to give out an award for the most cozy track in Mario Kart, then that award would easily be given out to Maple Treeway. This is a track that takes place in a beautiful orangey autumn forest, where you begin the race by shooting yourself out of a cannon into the treetops. During the race, you'll come across some wigglers at the top of the trees, and there's also a very satisfying half-pipe you can take on this course as well. Maple Treeway is also a gorgeous map. Even on the original Wii version of this track, it still looks incredible. This really is one of the best tracks from Mario Kart Wii, and they could bring this track back in every Mario Kart game going forward, and I would never get sick of this track. Koopa Cape. Taking the second place on this list is another fan favourite track from Mario Kart Wii. This is a fantastic track where you'll be taking lots of half pipes, racing down jet streams of water, and at one point you journey down into this pipe section where you have to avoid electrical spinning hazards. Koopa Cape Cape is a track I kind of fell out of love with over time due to this track's reappearances in Mario Kart 7 and 8 Deluxe. Later games took out the cool electrical spinning hazards, altered the half-pipe placements, broke the camera angles when taking half-pipes, and for when entering the pipe section, and they updated the music to sound horrible and really annoying. If you've only played Koopa Cape in Mario Kart 7 or 8, then you probably don't understand why this track is so great and why everyone raves about it. But if you go back to Mario Kart Wii and revisit the original Koopa Cape track, then you will understand why this track is so beloved and why it made it to the number 2 spot on my list. That's only the second best track in Mario Kart Wii. We still have one more track left to rank, and I think many of you know which track I've saved till last. So without further ado, the best track in Mario Kart Wii is Coconut Mall, one of the most iconic tracks, not just in Mario Kart Wii, but in Mario Kart history. Coconut Mall is a track that is set in a shopping mall of all places, which at first seems like a very odd location to theme a Mario Kart course around. However, Nintendo delivered and they managed to produce one of the best Mario Kart tracks we have ever seen. From driving up escalators which change direction, to tricking off fountains, to taking that shortcut through the corner store, to taking a leap of faith off the shopping mall, to then finally racing through the parking lot while avoiding the cars that are being driven by Miis. The track design here is flawless and every aspect of this course is perfect. And I cannot talk about Coconut Mall without mentioning the music, as it's insane just how good it is for this course. And it's another one of the reasons why this track is so iconic. Coconut Mall was a completely ridiculous idea for a Mario Kart track, but it works, and I love everything about this track. And that's why Coconut Mall is my favourite track within Mario Kart Wii. Right, that's all the tracks ranked in Mario Kart Wii. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see me rank more Mario Kart tracks, then don't worry, as I have a video on the screen right now where I ranked all 96 tracks in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.